We do have people making a few extra $100 a month here. We have people making a few extra thousand. We have people replacing income. We have people that are making in more in one session. So it does go across the board. Those are things that are happening within our community. All of that to express that, again, from a health standpoint, if we all go to the gym and we decide we're all going to be on the same health program, 75 hard here today and 75 days from now, here's the deal. Anything I put like in terms of macros and calories in my mouth, I am tracking all of my calories and I'm tracking my behaviors. But the whole point is, by doing so, we would all agree that at the end of that 75 days with that accountability and us doing those steps, that we're going to walk away being in better shape. Now, the question is, are we all going to be in the exact same shape?
No.
You and I are coming in at different BMI, right? And I would equate that in the trading or financial space as your financial independence number. Some people are coming in here already retiring off of like something like 48 million and treating this like golf. And then we've got other people that are like literally back against the wall, turning things around, coming through here. And nobody's telling them to go remortgage their house or anything like that. They're making decisions on how to come in here and they're making the sacrifices. We're seeing some of those people do incredible things. Nobody's advising those things. Those things are happening, which is pretty incredible. All of that to say that everybody's coming in. Some people might be coming in with debt and they've got different stress loads. They've got different things in their life while they're learning this new skill set. Ultimately, it comes down to the decisions. So now if we're going to talk about data-driven decisions, start stabilizing and scaling, like it comes down to a decision of this is what I'm going to do. Where's the accountability? We at Prosperity Movement have a really incredible, as at now, accountability and support system, but it's only going to get better for 2025.
So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement.
So welcome to the Prosperity U podcast. We're excited to have a brand new year. It is January 23rd, 2025, and we have a lot of new developments coming in 2025 that we're excited to go through here today. We do have a few things that we want to cover specifically, and we're going to do our best to cover it within the half an hour that we have. And then we might have kind of like it might turn into a little bit of a series, but ultimately we are going to cover what's coming in 2025. We're going to cover some business mindset, mutual accountability, professionalism, data-driven decisions, what it looks like to start, stabilize, and scale. And of course, we have an example here. The amazing Shane Daniels is on this call with us as a guest, as an example. So we're going to highlight him a little bit here. And then, of course, we hope to be able to talk about distractions and bad behaviors and a few other moving elements, and understanding and defining and refining those things to really set one apart. Because we see a lot of patterns of what it looks like to be doing really amazing, and then all of a sudden having a trigger happen, and then people having to kind of almost feel like they have to somehow reset and restart. And how we're going to actually avoid that. That's part of what we're excited about this year and some of the new developments, and how we're really going to hone in on a lot more driven consistency across the board. No more like 2-3 steps forward and a step or two back, but just consistently growing and getting traction. We don't want momentum up and down. We want traction constantly moving upwards. So we'll get into that. But I guess as we kind of unravel all those things, why don't we start with a little bit of business mindset? And Travis, you and I were chatting over the last couple of weeks and just kind of noticing a pattern in some of the people that we talk to throughout the process of kind of coming on board. And one of the things that we're really working on right now is a deeper psychological and spiritual evaluation is something that we really want to dive into more to make sure that we're filtering through and making sure that we're attracting the right people, and at the same time inspiring in a healthy way And so you shared something with me that I think that the community could really, really, benefit from. So I'll kind of pass it off to you now.
Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately it's a perspective shift on what we really value, right? And I think the antage is for most people, like if you value something, you'll find time for it, kind of thing, right? And so I heard someone say, gosh, I wish I remember the guy's name, but he was saying it's some kind of thought process here. He goes, walk with me through this story. If I gave you $1 million right now, you probably would be happy, like it would make you feel pretty good. Like, why would it not? $1 million. He goes, but what if you didn't get to wake up the next day? Would you still take it? Well, I think most of us would say, well, heck no, that's crazy. Absolutely not. So it's like, okay, so we value our life and our time here in this world above $1 million, right? So then I take it a step further than that and I say, well, what if you got to wake up the next day, but you had some like chronic illness, debilitating disease of some sort that your health is really challenged, right? Would you take the $1 million then? I certainly wouldn't. I want to be able to enjoy my life to the fullest, right? $1 million is not worth it to me, right? So time, our life in general, our health, right? All of that's worth more. And so take it even a step further. It's like, what if you had to wake up the next day and you had great health, but you didn't get to see your friends and your family? Would you take it? I really wouldn't. And and if you would, if you're thinking to yourself right now while you're listening to this, I would take it. We're probably not going to align very well because we really do. We're a relationship driven team here. So, the idea behind this is like we value these things, our time, our health, our relationships, and such at a really, really high level here. As if we compare it to money, right? Um, and I guess the idea there is then why are we so willing to spend that time and in many ways our health and relationships with the dreaded job and trade those things for significantly smaller amounts of money, right? Like shouldn't we be investing our time and resources and developing skills and money and stuff, right, to develop a way in which we can better control those things, right? And I think the best way to really look at this is the opportunity costs that a lot of people don't realize that every day that you go by not realizing how to be in a position to better control these things, you are sacrificing that much opportunity and money, right? If you don't know how to make, let's just say, arbitrary number XYZ per day that's going to keep you to have the maximized time, health, and relationships, then that's what it costs you every single day, right? And so it's like another way to look at it is it's almost more of a risk not to do anything than to take risks trying to build and grow, right? Is that kind of what you were looking for, Brian?
Yeah, yeah, it was really powerful because a lot of times we'll talk with people and we go through the I guess the three C's is what we would call them, right? The committed, the coachable, and the
Character.
right? And ultimately they'll say, yeah, 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 I'm committed. Yep, yep, yep. I'm coachable, and I got the character and the discipline to do this, but I'm not willing to do that. And it's like, huh? Like, so like, yes, 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 and no. And then there's the other thing that we sometimes experience, and this is why I'm excited to dive more into the focus of what we have this year, which is people say that they got the commitment, they have the coachability and the character, and then they come through the other side, and then they do actually illustrate something different. And this is why we want to dive into a deeper, more focused psychological and even spiritual evaluation. And there's moving reasons for that. We're not going to get into it on this call because we want to stay on topic. But ultimately, like we've got Zach, you're saying that the numbers show us that on average right now we have a 90% success rate within our community. And what if you were to kind of lump those numbers and what that means, can you describe that for listeners?
Yeah. So this is specifically referring to our active traders because they're the only ones that we can see, right? And so with our active traders, at the end of the week, 90% of them are profitable. From the week's trades, right? Now, some trading days are better and some trading days are not as good, but at the end of the week, 90% of them are profitable, are positive pips.
Yeah. And so now what is when you say some days are better and some days, like, what are the average numbers of how many pips the average student is making a week right now?
It's about 50 on average per week. We have some that, newbies will come in and they're playing with very small little trades, and we're talking like maybe 10 or 15 pips for the week. But we also have some people that are getting well over 100 pips a week. We see sometimes 200 pips, 300 pips, even up to 400 pips in a single week. I've even seen 800 from certain people. So it definitely varies. But I would say on average 50 a week, and it's typically about 10 a day, okay, is usually what we would see.
Okay, and so what does that mean? I know that we talk about the 10 pips an hour, which is ultimately we're looking at an hour trading session. So 10 pips a day is kind of what we're looking at. And if we're following the gate system and actually moving through that process in a healthy way, what can that mean?
So this is where it gets fun. Okay, because at the end of the day, trading, it's almost like business. That's why we always say treat trading like a business. Um, at the end of the day, trading is a numbers game once you have the skill. The thing that people the thing that people often mix up is that sometimes we can have somebody who has the skill of trading. They know how, they do it right until you crank up the numbers. And now all of a sudden, when the stake is a little bit more in terms of lot size that they're trading with, all of a sudden they forget the skill. Why? Because they let the emotions interfere with the skill that they already have. And that's where coaching is very, very useful and helpful so that we can help people identify those. So, in terms of the gate system starts people off at 50 cents a pip. Okay. So, if we're talking about these averages, 50 pips a week, it's not a lot. It's $2.50, right? Is that right? No, $25. I can do math. You don't have to do math to know how to trade. Okay. So 50 cents a pip. And then they have to prove that they are being consistent at that amount. Once they prove it, and that'll vary depending on the gate. At the beginning, it's 40 pips. If you get 40 pips as a minimum at 50 cents a pip, okay, you've proven that you know how to do it with that dollar amount. Let's crank it up to $1, right? And after they do a certain amount of pips, we crank it up to whatever it is, $2, crank it up to $5, $10, etc. So by the time somebody's at something like $50 a pip, all of a sudden the same 50 pips a week, they haven't changed anything in terms of their trading skill. That same exact 50 pips a week equates to $2,500 a week. So it really, really ramps up. What we do is we start people so small so that we can focus on the skill and not have to worry about the emotional side as much. Okay. Then we can, as that skill is now a habit, now we can start dabbling into the psychological bit that's required.
Yeah. So here's the fun part of the conversation too. James literally just messaged us in our board chat, letting us know that we are at 1,460 pips so far for January on his live calls. So this isn't counting live calls with Shane and Matt. This isn't counting live calls with Zach. This isn't counting. Is there anyone else doing live calls? No, it's you, it's Shane and Matt, and then this is James. So this is just James's pip count for the month. James's pip count is sitting at 1,460 so far for January. Okay, so today we had an all-day session, and we are at 290 pips today with that. So like that can kind of give you an idea. And of course, James is sitting at the roughly 50-pound lot sizer, which is closer to $65 per pip. And so you can kind of start doing the math on that and what kind of things can happen. Now, is everybody doing that? The reality is no. I always like to give an example of going to the gym. We do have people making a few extra $100 a month here. We have people making a few extra thousand. We have people replacing income. We have people that are making more in one session, like that all-day session with James today, than they did all of 1 year prior. So it does go across the board. We have people over here that are graduating prop firms and getting entrusted with up to $650,000 of prop firm money. Those are things that are happening within our community, which is where we're opening up our hearts and minds for bigger things in 2025. All of that to, express that again, from a health standpoint, if we all go to the gym and we decide we're all going to be on the same health program, 75 hard here today and 75 days from now, here's the deal. I've got my fitness pal. Anything that goes into my yap here, anything I put like in terms of macros and calories in my mouth is going into my fitness pal. And I am tracking all of my calories and I'm tracking my behaviors. And I can already tell you guys, I've almost lost 10 pounds since Christmas by doing this with my accountability partner. We do this with our trading as well. We're going to go into deeper detail with that in 2025. But the whole point is that by doing so, we would all agree that at the end of that 75 days with that accountability and us doing those steps, that we're going to walk away being in better shape. Now, the question is, are we all going to be in the exact same shape?
No.
Why?
Different efforts put into different exercises or into the food. Like, how do they get close?
Different
Or do they
variables.
do it very well?
Different variables. Hey, listen, your BMI, you and I are coming in at different BMI, right? And I would equate that in the trading or financial space as your financial independence number. Some people are coming in here already retiring off of like something like 48 million and treating this like golf. And then we've got other people that are like literally back against the wall, turning things around, coming through here. And
Yeah.
nobody's telling them to go remortgage their house or anything like that. They making decisions on how to come in here, and they're making the sacrifices, and we're seeing some of those people do incredible things. Nobody's
Yeah.
advising those things. Those things are happening, which is pretty incredible. So all of that to say that everybody's coming in. Some people might be coming in with debt and they've got different stress loads. They've got different things in their life while they're learning this new skill set. I know that Shane, when he came in a year ago, actually over a year ago, and then we met him in Pensacola, there was a scenario. We're going to dive into that here in a second. But ultimately, it comes down to the decision. So now if we're going to talk about, data-driven decisions, start stabilizing and scaling, like it comes down to a decision of this is what I'm going to do. Where's the accountability? We at Prosperity Movement have a really incredible, as at now, accountability and support system, but it's only going to get better for 2025. But before we dive into that, Shane, can you share a little bit about your experience and your story with trading and where you got to be now? If we can get like a high level, like a 3 minute kind of high level story. Go ahead there, Zach.
I was going to say, I want to know, where you were at with Pensacola and what was the advice given to you there?
Well, first off, I'm going to say I'm glad we're not in Pensacola now because they got snow.
Yes.
The same very hotel we were at a year ago has a record amount of snowfall in Florida. It's crazy. But anyway, where I was at, I'd been with you guys when we met a year ago. I'd been with you for a year and was frustrated. I think I had the one of my conversations with Zach is, am I personally doing enough? And that to answer myself was no. I could have been doing more, which it comes down to that. It's what it starts with us. It starts within yourself, and you have to make that decision that this is what I'm going to do. I've spent X amount of dollars to be part of this community. I've now got the responsibility to myself and my family to treat this the way it deserves to be treated. It does. I mean, people have mentioned before. I mean, I think we can train a monkey to read the charts. It's literally, and I've told the guys on the accountability call every Sunday night, it's the 6 inches between our ears. So I've made, and with help of the mentors within our community and a few of those without that Zach had put me in touch with. I mean, it's starting to make those small incremental shifts inside your own mind that you find those effective behavior. You find what's effective and you focus on that. I can go back and all my past trades, I've got the histories. I can tell you what I did wrong. I can tell you what I did wrong. Could I really tell you what I did right? No, because at that time I was focused on what I was doing wrong. and we need to focus on what we're doing right and repeat that over and over and over again. Do we need to know what we did wrong? Absolutely. But we need to focus on our effective behaviors. And so I mean, I'm that those small incremental shifts. I mean, it's even been, I've been a part of a class this whole week. It's just been eye opening just this week. But as far as my trading personally, I still have some struggles mentally. It's not following rules. I have, I joke that, I do what I want. Well, when I do what I want, the market is going to do what the market is going to do. And whether what I do what I want, the market don't care what Shane wants. The market don't care what anybody wants. It's going to do its own thing.
Yeah.
So when we make that shift to following the process and trusting the process, trusting the indicators that James has laid out for us, it becomes monumental. Monumental. English is hard. Sorry, it's not
I
my
know what
first-
you mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Can't
and
speak. My hands are something else for Travis. I mean,
well, you've been trading profitably now, and like you've gone up to what gate so far?
as Zach alluded to, once the money gets higher, a guy kind of forgets where he's at. I've been up to gate 14 before, been knocked down a little bit, making my way back up. It's again, it's following the process, and but the systems we have in place with Zach and James that they've made for the gate system, and this is how you do it. If you go up, you can go up. If you go down, you got to protect your account.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, again, it's the willingness of each individual person that gets involved in trading. I mean, trading itself has a totally different success formula than what we've been taught in grade school and high school and college or post-secondary for you Canadians, whatever you call that. We have the urgency in life and work to get things done. I'm that way. I can't sit still. I got to go. I got stuff to do. I got to go. And that is just a completely wrong mind model to have going into trading. You cannot go into that market with urgency or bad things are going to happen. You have to learn patience and you have to learn discipline.
That's so good. And just for high leveling it, like gate 14, what was the lot size sitting at?
Of course, I trade Dow, so the gate systems kind of I had to fluctuate with what money's in my account. But at the most I have traded with was
Give me-
like 15
give me a
or
second.
20.
I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah. Oh, you're actually
$20. I believe it was $20 a pip is where I was at.
Yeah.
20. Yep. Yeah. So that is almost like the halfway mark. And what a cool thing to be able to, like, we're saying halfway to the $50, because the goal is to get you to the $50 mark. And I believe we're going to crack that code here this year. But the point is, like, to see what you've done over the last year, to be at that place where you had lost, my understanding is you had lost prior like thousands of dollars.
Before Prosperity, yeah, other platforms, yeah. I have not blown an account with Prosperity.
You've not blown
I've
prosperity, just pure focus. Yeah.
Sure. There's times that I mean, trading like go up, go down, go up, go down. And sometimes my going up is small, might go down, but then I come back. I mean, it's if people get in this and think that, oh my gosh, I'm going to push a few buttons and I'm going to go to the moon, what is that, 0.01% happens that way? But in reality, it's not going to happen that way. It's something that you have to dedicate yourself to learn this skill. But once you learn it, the moon's possible.
And there are people who do what we're describing. Like James is one of those, and he's got a few handful of people within his tight knit crew and some of the round tables that he has that are like that. And it's not to say that you can't. Now, is the average person do that out of the gates? The answer is probably most likely not. That's why we're here. That's the YouTube University thing is that's the reason why we're here. That typically doesn't work. There's a 1 to 3% chance of making it work outside of this type of support system, and that's the whole point. And so where I'm excited to take the next year with our community is diving even deeper into accountability and support. on a deeper, wider level, and data-driven focus on a deeper, wider level. Because we're already teaching our students about the 16 points of measurement. We're already teaching our students how to track what you measure. What you measure gets managed. What you track, you can hack. And what you measure, you treasure. We teach people that. Now, again, you're hearing the discipline part. It's like the cookie jar, right? Some of the problems, more times than not, that we are seeing is that people will be successful, 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 and then they take a day where they don't put put in their numbers because they know and they feel embarrassed of the behavior that they did, like take 30 trades in a session when they know they shouldn't have did that. Just
Mhm.
like I can tell you in the last 2 weeks that a little over 2 weeks going on 3 weeks of doing this program where I've lost almost 10 pounds, there's 2 days that I was tracking and I saw I got up to 2,500 calories and I had to figure out what was the thing that caused that trigger for me to behave like that, right? And I ended up giving the snacks to my mother-in-law. But the point is, I was able to see it, and I was able to adjust. And we've got some of our most successful traders are doing some really, really smart risk mitigation focuses. Like one of the things that we are going to be focusing on is roundtables and accountability. And that roundtables and accountability as a start is real simple. You've got Zach sessions, you've got Shane and Matt sessions, and you've got James sessions. And so we're going to be putting together an even more in-depth automated kind of focus and tracking system for our community where you're going to be able to pump in numbers specifically and set up certain accounts and brokers for that session. So for example, if I'm committed, I'm going to be on James's session. On each one of these sessions every week, I'm only using this account with James and I am tracking this account with James. If I'm going to be on a session with Shane and Matt, I am tracking that. If I'm going to be on a session with Zach, I am tracking that separately. These are all separate. If I'm going solo, I'm tracking that separately. We're going to really figure out and find out where your biggest triggers are and where your biggest missteps and where your biggest misbehaviors are. Yeah, thank you for the 4 minute heads up. And so this is where the system is evolving into deeper accountability. And also, even deeper than that, some of our boot camp time is going to be focused on your accountability partner. We're going to try to help our students to find their accountability partners and pair up with their accountability partners so that they are going to jump on these coaching calls and have that deeper accountability. And it's not a woe is me session. This is a Proverbs 27:17 iron sharpens iron session because the most successful guys in this crew are the ones that are able to admit, submit, and commit. So that means I admit the areas that I need to improve. I submit to that fact. I commit to change. And we don't promise, we perform. We get it done. Super simple.
So with I volunteer coach with you guys, lead the men's accountability call on Sunday. And like you said, iron sharpens iron. There's lots of times that I'll trade through the week and Sunday night accountability call. I'm like, man, I got to tell the guys what I did. I over traded. I got my fanny kicked this week. But then there's those weeks that I hit that 200, 100, 201 pips a week, and then I, again, don't want to say I'm bragging, but if you follow the process, if you follow the rules, it works. And this community is great. We've got men's accountability call once a week. Janelle leads a women's call. There's coaches and calls. And I mean, the support system is unfathomable compared to any place else you'll ever be outside of prosperity.
And
The
it's only
support, I mean, you got James. I can text James. I can text Zach. Zach gives you a message. It's going to be about 48 hours before I get back to you. But he still, most of the time, gets back. He's busy. He's busy. But
he's,
that's what I mean.
how many other places have you had experience with? I don't remember.
Two others.
So
Yeah.
you got some backing behind it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
listen to what he just said. He's volunteering, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody's paying him. He is volunteering his time and helping people. Obviously, he's getting enough out of this, not just value, but he's making enough in his account to want to be able to do that. I just props, hats off to you, man. We love you deeply and we appreciate you. And as the positions open up, I think you'll probably be front line. And Guy says, I can vouch. Shane has helped me a lot. Love it. So good. Yeah. So I think that really, honestly, for this week, it concludes. And I think next week we want to dive deeper into distractions and bad behaviors. And we have a couple other highlights. One really kind of like, I would say, ooh, that's a hot topic. And then the other one is setting right expectations. So that's what we're going to focus on for next week. And so we look forward to seeing you next week. We want to wish you all the best in health, wealth, and relationships. God bless you abundantly. Chat soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.